Hello everyone, my name is Rinku Mohan. Today, we are going to discuss a topic that is increasingly significant in our rapidly changing world, the importance of digital inclusion for the aging population. This is closely related to my research on the digital exclusion of elderly individuals, where we explore the challenges they face and the solutions needed to ensure no one is left behind the digital age. As life expectancy continues to rise around the world, the issue of aging has become more and more significant. This change brings both opportunities and challenges. The technology advancements have the power to transform lives, offering better living conditions and opportunities to connect socially. However, for many elderly individuals, navigating modern technologies can be a real challenge. The digital inclusion is crucial here by ensuring that everyone, regardless of their age, has access to and can use digital tools effectively. We can promote social justice and equal development. It helps bridge gaps, foster connections, and improve the overall quality of the life of the elderly. This research mainly focuses on the understanding of the digital divide among the elderly. We wanted to find out what causing older adults to struggle with technology, how this impact their lives, and why these challenges differ from one country to another. So the ultimate goal is to figure out ways to help them integrate better into today's digital world. And we explored three main questions. What is the current situation of the digital exclusion? How well are the older people able to use devices like smartphones, computers, and other digital tools? Secondly, what are the key reasons behind this difficulties? How do things like their income, health, or age affect their ability to use technology? And how does this impact their everyday lives? Right. Finally, how do these issues vary between different countries? Are older peoples in wealthier countries facing the same struggles as those in the less wealthy ones? And by answering these questions, we hope to provide practical insights that can guide policies, programs, and community efforts to make the digital world more accessible for elderly, no matter where they live. Here is something interesting from the general knowledge about older age groups and their internet use. As people get older, their internet usage drops significantly. For example, in age groups like 45 to 54, 55 to 64, and 65 plus, the number of internet users is about 10% less compared to younger groups. This trend highlights how technology adoption becomes more of a challenge with age. Another point to note is the old age dependency ratio, the number of older people compared to the working age population. In most countries except India, this ratio is above 50. This means that there are at least 50 older adults for every 100 working age people. For India, it's slightly lower at 37. Looking ahead, it is projected that by 2075, more than half the population in these countries will be senior citizens. This means that addressing the digital divide and preparing for an aging population will become more important in the future. For our research, we collected aging data from 5 high-income countries and 5 lower and middle-income countries. The higher-income countries include United Kingdom, Germany, Austria, France, Estonia, and the lower and middle income countries included India, Mexico, Brazil, Bulgaria, and Romania. We selected these countries to ensure a diverse representation of economic and cultural context. By comparing digital exclusion across these regions, we were able to see how challenges differ between the wealthier and less wealthy countries and gain deeper insights into the factors driving the digital divide. And we looked at the data from these sources over 5 years from 2019 to 2023 to ensure we captured trends and changes over time. Once we had the data, we analyzed it using various statistical methods, for example, principal component analysis, which help us to understand the key factors driving the digital exclusion, and the tests like chi-square and ANOVA, which help us to find the pattern, compare groups, and see how digital exclusion varies between countries, income levels, and age groups. This combination of methods allowed us to identify the main barriers older adults face when using technology and how these challenges differ across regions. This table compares 5 higher income countries: Austria, Germany, France, Estonia, and UK, focusing on population size, age, gender, and digital exclusion. The United Kingdom stands out with the largest group of participants, while Austria has the smallest. In terms of age, the median across all countries is the early 70s, but UK has a slightly younger population with a median age of 69. Gender-wise, women are more represented in every country. Estonia, for example, has the highest proportion of women. Now, when it comes to digital exclusion, Estonia and France has the highest rate, around 30%, while UK is doing much better with only 11% of the population excluded. When we look at the age, the median across middle-income countries ranges from 64 to 70 years, with Bulgaria have the oldest group. The 55 to 64 group is the largest in most countries, especially in India and Mexico, where it accounts for nearly half the population. On the other hand, the 75 plus age group is much smaller, particularly in India and Mexico, where it's around 16 to 70%. For gender, there is a fairly balanced split in most countries, though Brazil has a slightly higher proportion of men at 55%, while India and Mexico have more women at around 53%. The most striking insight is digital exclusion in India, which has the highest rate with a staggering 91% of the population digitally excluded, highlighting a major challenge for connectivity. In contrast, Mexico has the lowest exclusion rate at 33%, showing significant progress in digital access. Age and marital status are two key factors when it comes to digital exclusion. Let's start with age. Older age groups are significantly more likely to be digitally excluded, and this issue is even more pronounced in lower and middle income countries. In contrast, higher income countries tend to do a better job for including older populations in digital world. Now let's talk about marital status. Individuals without partners, whether single, divorced, or widowed, are more likely to be digitally excluded. This trend is noticeable in all countries, but the gap is much wider in middle income countries. So, what does this mean overall? The most digitally excluded demographics are older adults and individuals without partners, and this is especially severe in middle income countries. These findings highlight the urgent need for targeted efforts to close this digital divide. The factors affecting digital exclusion was identified using PCA factor analysis, which is a dimensionality reduction technique used to identify the most important factors. And it suggests that three different factors are primarily causing digital exclusion among which socioeconomic factors highlight that the difference in country type, education, and marital status are key socioeconomic drivers of digital exclusion. And the policy interventions targeting education and marital support can help bridge the digital gap. And the component 2, which is health related issues, stress that the physical and health conditions are significant barriers to digital inclusion. And it suggests that the healthcare support systems that integrate digital literacy programs are necessary to bridge this gap. And the component 3, which is age-related limitations, emphasize the role of age and physical limitations in excluding individuals from the digital space. And it recommends age-friendly technologies and accessibility enhancements. Variations of digital exclusion between higher income and middle income countries were identified by using chi-square test, and their results indicate that there is a stronger association between country type and digital exclusion. This suggests that digital exclusion is not evenly distributed across countries and is strongly influenced by their economic classification. Higher income countries have better digital inclusion due to advanced infrastructure, affordability, and widespread of digital literacy. The middle income countries face greater challenges, including limited access to technology, poor infrastructure, and affordability barriers, which amplify the digital exclusion rates. This slide presents the result of a chi-square test used to investigate the relationship between age groups of different countries. It explores whether the age group significantly impacts digital inclusion or exclusion, depending on the economic classification of the country. The highly significant chi-square result confirms that age groups are associated with digital exclusion, and this association varies across higher and middle income countries. The older age groups in middle income countries are likely more affected by digital exclusion compared to younger age groups or their counterparts in higher income countries. This could be due to lack of access to digital technologies, lower digital literacy among older populations, or infrastructure and affordability challenges in middle income countries. What test was used to find the variation in the life satisfaction among digitally excluded people in higher income countries, and result suggests that there is a significant difference in the variation of means across different countries. And the Austria has reported the higher rate for the digitally excluded people, and the Estonia has got the lowest rating. Similarly, while comparing the variation in the life satisfaction among the digitally excluded people in middle income countries, the Romania has got the highest rate, while the India has got the lowest rate for the life satisfaction. To investigate the impact of digital exclusion and its interaction with country in terms of health rating, the two-way ANOVA test was performed, and we can see that the digitally included people in all other countries except Mexico is showing higher rating for health while comparing to the digitally excluded people. The final thought, the digital exclusion has many impacts, like it reduces access to essential services, social connections, and banking. Also, it affects the overall quality of life of the elderly. The key findings include there are significant disparity in the digital exclusion rate between higher income countries and middle income countries, where UK is having only 11% and India is having 91% of people are digitally excluded. The socioeconomic, age-related, and health-related challenges are found to be the primary contributors of digital exclusion. And the successful programs like Austria's Digital Seniors and India's age-aware digital literacy programs show promise, but it require expansion. And tailored programs for rural areas and unreserved demographics are also crucial. The recommendations include expand digital literacy programs to remote areas and include affordable devices and internet access, and focus on most excluded groups like 75 plus in higher income countries and younger and elderly groups in the middle income countries. Also encourage community-based activities and public-private collaborations to promote technology adoption. The future research should look into the cultural and healthcare related aspects of the digital exclusion and conduct longitudinal studies to track progress and effectiveness of these interventions. So, collaborative efforts among policymakers and organizations are essential to bridge the digital divide and support the. Thank you all for joining me for the talk. I truly hope you found it valuable. It was a pleasure to share my insights on digital inclusion for elderly users. If you would like to continue the conversation or collaborate in the future, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Also, if you would like to go further, please check out the research paper attached for a deeper dive into the findings. Looking forward to staying in touch and exploring new ideas together.